All right, I got a really good question the other day. The question was, how can I know if I'm making enough progress? And while that question might be different for everybody, everybody's got different expectations, I do want to give you some context on how to assess progress. So generally, if you're talking about strength, if strength is your number one priority, I see a couple common mistakes. The first mistake is people really obsess over 3 lifts: bench press, squat, deadlift, or just one, or they pick and choose. But those are typically the only 3 I see people really getting into, and they're going to base their whole strength progress on those. They're also, the other mistake is they're going to obsess over their 1 rep max, and that's everything. If it doesn't go up, they feel like they're not making progress. So I'll give you a couple different mindsets around that. Number one, if strength is my number one priority, I want to focus on more exercises. I see the exercises as vocabulary and strength is the language. So if I want to be fluent in that language, I want to excel in more diverse vocabulary, or I want to be better at more exercises. Typically people are training, they're not training for competition. If you're a power lifter, that's different because you have 3 specific lifts that you have to compete on. If you're not in competition, or you're in off season, if you're a power lifter in your off season, and you want to increase your strength based, however you want to phrase it, general strength, whatever you want to call it, you want to get strong at more lifts than just 3. That's front squat, that's safety squat, that's box squat, Anderson squat, squat from the pins. There's literally I just named 6 different variations. Another thing, bench press, you can be incline bench press, close grip bench press, pause bench press. Real quick on the incline or on the close grip, a lot of people think close grip's like this. Close grip, you got your regular, you just going 2 or 3 knuckles inside. That's enough change to yield something different. The idea of variation is each variation strengthens something different. So if you only do one variation, I think it's just limiting. The other idea with deadlifts, people will get obsessed with deadlifts. There's deficit deadlifts, there's conventional, sumo, block pull, rack pull, all types, RDL, Romanian deadlift, all types of exercises. So number one, increase your vocabulary, use more exercises. Inside of that concept, more exercises, extend your progress or how you assess progress to more than just your 1 rep max. You should have a 1 rep max, a 2 rep max, a 3 rep max. I like AMRAP sets. AMRAPs are as many reps as possible. And I will have a max on 70%, 75%, 80%. That gives me, I just named 6 different ways to hit a PR. So back up, think of all the exercises I just listed. You're going to do the same thing on pull-ups, on dumbbell rows, on pin lay rows, bent over barbell, all the compounds. That just gives you a long runway to make progress. So expand your vocabulary, and then inside of that concept, expand past a 1 rep max. Because what happens with strength is it waxes and wanes. It goes up and down. That's part of training. You might hit a PR 1 week. You might not be able to hit it again for 2 weeks, because guess what? Central nervous system fatigue can take up to 14 days to recover. If you never recover fully, whether it's you're doing too much in the gym, you're not allowing the body to recover, you're not sleeping enough, the nutrition part, there's ups and downs. That's just part of training. So I'd also just advise, don't get frustrated if you go down. So the next point is zoom out. Don't be so focused on what you did last week or even the week before. Zoom out to a month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And what happens is you're going to see a bunch of ups and downs. But over the long run, you're going to see a good positive trend. So don't obsess over the data points or the actual lifts. Obsess over the trend. Is the trend going up? Is it flat? Is it down? Zoom out. That'll give you better perspective. If you've ever lost or gained weight, you know this. You step on the scale, your weight goes up and down, but over the long term, if you zoom out long enough, where you start and where you finish, you eventually get to where you're going. the other thing, the idea about testing, I don't think testing is the best way to go about it. I prefer monitoring. And what that means is you're not scheduling a test day where everything is devoted to that test, whether it's a 1 rep max or whatever you decide it is, but rather it's inside the training. You need to give yourself opportunities inside your training to attempt to move forward in some form or fashion. And that gives you more shots on goal. And so, you know, especially with high school coaches, I'll talk to them and they want to increase their 1 rep max. So they'll test, and then their 12 weeks of training, they don't do any singles, none. They do sets of 5, they do sets of 8, but no singles. So my other caveat is make sure your training reflects what you want to test or what you want to monitor and track if it's going up, down. Because if you're not doing it, you can't, it's not magic, especially with strength. You have to train the lower rep sets. You have to see the heavier weight on the bar more frequently. That's going to give you a better system to monitor more frequently. You're going to do triples one week, you do singles the next week. There's a million different ways to do it. That's strength to me. You get to tailor it to your needs, your equipment, your goals. But that to me is a more sustainable mindset, because the people who crash and burn are the ones that I mentioned earlier who obsess over 1 or 2, maybe 3 lifts, and they're pushing it every week. They're doing the same thing, trying to push more on their 1 rep max, and that's a mistake. So if I'm looking at body composition, well, then I got to find something that measures that. So to me, it's easy to find somebody. There's a healthcare system in your area, most likely, that has a DEXA scan. You schedule a DEXA scan every 3 or 6 months. That can show change for body composition. If you're into fitness, I think VO2 max is widely underrated. I don't know why it's not talked about, but one reason might be because it's perceived to be a tough metric to test. I'll give you a nice little tidbit here. There's a walk test that estimates your VO2 max. It's called the Rockport walk test. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. So if fitness is something that you're interested in, I like VO2 max. That's a great indicator on my level of fitness. The other thing you might want to look at is body weight exercises. How many push-ups can you do from when you started to now? How many pull-ups can you do? I think relative strength is a great measure for fitness. Another one I think is, I just drew a blank. Hold on for a second. I don't want to lose it. Grip strength, that's that one. Find something to test your grip strength on, because often, especially with older populations, you know, measuring the back squat strength isn't something that's practical. So there's other ways to measure strength depending on who you are. You've got people who want to be extreme strength athletes. You got some people that want to be healthy. You got some people that are trying to overcome disease or illness. And a lot of times in the fitness realm too is get your blood work done. Go to your primary care doctor and have your blood test run. Look at your biomarkers. That's another way to assess progress. It doesn't have to be this one-track mind of how much weight I'm lifting, although obviously that is something I'm interested in, but not everybody's interested in the same thing. So make sure you align your progress or how you assess your progress with what your goals are. So zoom out, expand your vocabulary in the strength world, use more exercises, use more rep schemes. And the other thing is, when you're training, try to find a way to get a win. Try every day. You should be looking, how can I get a win today? It could be a small win, it could be a big win, but track yourself over time, monitor and see what the trend looks like, and have patience, because it takes consistency, discipline, and sustainable efforts to see small details lead to big results.